It's Tuesday, July 24th, and I am your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we have coffee with the Chief of Police, meet the community service officers of the Barnstable Police Department, and talk ticks with the county entomologist. Let's start with some news you can use this morning. A overnight water main break Tuesday in Hyannis led to a sinkhole that swallowed up a newspaper delivery van. Barnstable Police Sergeant Jason Sturgis said the van was turning into Dumont Drive when it went nose down into the hole. At the time, water department workers were looking for the water main break after scattered reports of customers losing water pressure and service around Hyannis. Repairs were being made to the water system. Main Street near the West End Rotary is closed into the early morning hours today as repairs are being made right now. The new Chief of Police, Barnstable Police Department, is on a mission to meet the communities he and his department serves in a relaxed and neighborly way, listening to concerns and sharing stories. We found Chief Sonneben enjoying a Danish and a cup o' joe at Nirvana Coffee Company yesterday morning in Barnstable Village. Some of the new initiatives for Chief Sonneben and the Barnstable Police Department is to spend more time in the communities that they serve to connect with residents and business owners. Coffee with the Chief, held Monday at Nirvana Coffee Company in Barnstable Village, brought young and old together to talk about what's important and a chance to chat with officers, detectives, and of course the Chief. Channel 18 was on hand to talk with Laura Scheckman, owner of Nirvana Coffee Company, and Chief Sonneben, to learn more about this first coffee chat and what it represents to the neighborhood.
I guess really the basic premise of it is that most of the time when we interact with the public, it tends to be in a negative light. You know, you're getting a ticket, or you're getting pulled over for doing something wrong, or you're calling us for an emergency. Or it's not necessarily the most positive thing that we're dealing with people on a daily basis. So this gets a chance for not only the public, but the officers themselves to interact with people on a more conversational basis, or on a regular basis, where you can see that and have a talk, have a conversation with different people, and just see each other as people, and just get out there, and interact with each other on a normal basis.
How important is you to see a police presence here in the village?
I think it's great for the community. I think it's a great thing that they're doing, and hopefully they'll do more of it to show people they're here and nice people to come in and ask questions and get to know them. Yeah, I think it's wonderful.
You have seen the fluorescent shirts walking the beat around downtown Hyannis and the harbor since 2015. The Barnstable Police Department's community service officers provide a visible, easily identifiable presence on Main Street and the surrounding area. The CSOs act as liaisons between the businesses, tourists, and residents. The additional presence also helps quell some of the less desirable behaviors of individuals in the area. In that way, the CSOs supplement the Community Impact Unit. Meet their supervisor, Sergeant Jennifer Ellis, and some of the young men who are the 2018 CSOs.
For us, the goal of the CSO program is to have a second set of eyes and ears for the police department, and it's very focused on community policing. So the CSOs are out there, they're interacting with residents, tourists, business owners, and with our homeless population that we have here in downtown Hyannis. They do a foot patrol around the Main Street area. They give information back to the police department. They give information back to the Community Impact Unit as far as which individuals that are homeless are in particular need. And then I take that information and we try to address it with our outreach team. The visibility is really an important piece, and I think it makes people feel much more comfortable. So even though they are civilians, they're not sworn officers, they don't have any powers of arrest, but they represent the police department, and people feel more secure having more of a police presence around. They definitely make a huge difference. If there's any undesirable behavior going on, they take care of it, and all they have is their communication skills and their presence, and so we're very selective in who we choose for these assignments because it's important that they be able to accomplish the goal with just those limited skills.
Always had a lot of interest in the Barnstable community and Barnstable Police Department, so I thought it was a really good opportunity to be able to interact firsthand with the community and get to know it better. I think a lot of the stuff you get is, like I said, the firsthand experience. You know, a lot of the individuals we deal with out here, you know, have certain issues, whether it's mental health or, you know, substance abuse, and, you know, being able to communicate with them effectively is, you know, I don't think necessarily something you can learn in school, but it's something that you can, you know, gain knowledge through work as, you know, through this job.
So they have a week-long training that Sergeant Allen puts together for them. It's an excellent week of training, and one of the days is an 8-hour mental health first aid course. I've been teaching that to them, usually with Sergeant Sturgis, for the last 3 years since we've had the program. And the mental health first aid class, what it is it's an 8-hour course, and it's essentially like first aid for dealing with somebody that's in a mental health or a substance abuse crisis. It's not teaching anybody how to diagnose somebody's mental illness or substance abuse issues, but it's helping them to identify when somebody's in a mental health crisis or, you know, a substance abuse crisis, and the different types of mental illness they might come across while they're out on the streets working the job, how to de-escalate the situation, how to interact with somebody that's in a crisis, and then the different alternatives, the different responses. Usually what they're going to do is they're either going to call the station or they're going to reach out to me and tell me what they have going on if it gets to a point that it's, you know, beyond something that they can handle in the moment.
You know, we get a lot of, obviously we're part of the Community Impact Unit, and through that we got a week-long training, which includes mental health and things like that, but I think it's important to get out here. I think that we're still all training, being out here, and you don't get the real-life training until you're out here on the streets walking and dealing with certain situations.
I think most importantly it's been interacting with the community and, you know, being able to get to know the community as a whole. You know, it's definitely been worthwhile and a great experience so far.
The selection process is very stringent. I think the first year we had between 35 and 50 initial applicants. The way that we start to wean it down is we just look at the applications themselves, and we can only choose interviews from the applications that are the best written, the most complete, don't have mistakes, that type of thing. So that's that's just a really easy process to start with, although it takes time. And then from there we do interviews, and the interviews are very heavily weighted in this process. So, you know, there's also a background process. We're going to look at everybody's background. Not the same as we would look at a full-time police candidate, but it's still pretty stringent. But the interview process is very heavily weighted, and you know, we prefer to hire kids that are from our own community, but we will only take the best applicants, and when we have people from other communities that are stars, then we will take them.
I grew up in this town, graduated from Barnstable High School, So a lot of connections. I saw this job as an opportunity to work with the community and better myself for a future career in law enforcement. It definitely allows us to be out here and work with the community and different types of people, the tourists, the business owners around here, and obviously the homeless population as well. So get a diverse group, and working with the community is also just a great opportunity.
This is definitely one of the best parts of my job, and it's so rewarding. I love it. I love doing that mentor coach role. It feels very natural for me, and I'm incredibly proud of these kids. They never let me down. They always exceed my expectations, and I think this is a program that the town should really be proud of, and you know, just aspire to continuing in the future.
Coffee and donuts. It's the chief of police.
There were no donuts.
There were no donuts.
Pastries.
Pastries. You were quite disappointed there were no donuts.
Well, you know, a good donut goes a long way.
It does. You had coffee with folks in Barnstable Village yesterday. Give us a little recap of the morning.
No, we do. It's Nirvana Coffee Company right there on 6A down by the courthouse. Hosted us. They were excellent, provided some coffee and some pastries, and the community came in and provided the conversation, and it's a wide variety of topics. You know, astonishingly, you know, there really wasn't, it was more just general conversation than it was police-related topics. There were just some kind of curiosity questions about how do you address this, how do you address that, you know, general conversations about where people grew up, where they were from, what the village used to be like years ago. You know, wide ranging, depending on who you talk to, you know, and it was really great. It was really nice. We appreciate them having us down there.
And you had a new officer yesterday with
yes.
a new title.
Sergeant Deputy Johnson, yes.
He was adorable.
Yes, he was. He had his great, you know, we got pictures up on the Facebook. He had his full uniform on. He came down to hang out with us and took a photo with the guys. They loved it. He thought that was the greatest thing. And yeah, it was just awesome seeing some, you know, the kids come down and, you know, participate and just hang out with us.
Excellent. And how can we support our police department today?
Well, today, funny you might ask. You know, we filled everybody up with some coffee and donuts yesterday, and now we want a pint of your blood. Today we are hosting our segment of the Battle of the Badges that is run by Cape Cod Healthcare. It's a blood drive donation. Blood donation drive. How do you say it? Is that right? Blood
Yep.
drive donation drive. Today is our turn here on the 24th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. right here at 1200 Finney's Lane. You can come in and you can give your pint of blood. All the blood collected during the drive stays here on the Cape and in the healthcare system here on the Cape. And at the end, the winner gets a sugar cookie and some orange juice. No, maybe not. No, we'll get the honor of receiving the Battle of the Badge certificate that we won this year. Last year we didn't win. I think it was the Dennis Police Department won. But, you know, this is just a good fun way for the healthcare system to really make sure that they have the appropriate amount of blood, because when things happen, they need to have that stock in there. They need to have it for surgeries. They need to have it for other things. And when that supply gets too low, it really isn't any good for anybody that happens to be at the hospital and needs some.
Right.
But they do say if you do come in and give some blood today, you will receive a complimentary movie pass.
Ooh. Well, that makes it worth it, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
you know, get a free movie pass. You know what? If you're really cheap, you can bring your date with you. You both give some blood, and you can go to the movies together.
And bring the orange juice and
And
sugar
you'll get a
cookie.
snack.
Exactly. I love it.
See, free, right? Free dating tips. There you
Free
go.
dating tips, and you get to support the police department, and
Yes, you do.
hopefully,
You get to support the police department. Put us over the top.
exactly. Battle of the Badges. That's right at the Barnstable Police Station.
11 a.m.
Excellent. Thanks, Chief.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too now.
Bye.
Deer ticks are most famous for carrying the bacterial infection known as Lyme disease. But more recently, they have been discovered locally to harbor babiosis, anaplasmosis, and relapsing fever. Barnstable County entomologist Larry Dapsis has all the information to protect your family, your yard, and your pets this season from these life-altering insects. We're out in the field, literally today, with Larry Dapsis, County Extension entomologist. Larry, it is tick season and they are exploding everywhere this year. Lots of rain brought them out.
Well, tick season actually started January 1st and it's going to go till December 31st and pick up again January 1st. But you're right, with all the rain that we've had recently, that just creates the environmental conditions that ticks can be in places you wouldn't normally find them, and they're active for longer periods of time. So it increases the chances that you're going to bump into one of these little landmines.
So you have a couple of those little landmines with you today, and they're minuscule, really small.
Well, these are adult stage ticks that I picked up in about 60 seconds of dragging a piece of white flannel on the ground. So I've got 2 adult males and 2 adult females, and you can see they're about the size of a sesame seed. Right. But we're in a transition stage right now because what's about to start coming out are the nymph stage of this tick.
Oh my gosh, you can't really even see them. They're extremely small, like a grain of sand.
They're the size of a poppy seed, and they'll be with us about now until early August. And the significance of this is that it's so small, it can elude a tick check. So this stage is responsible for 85% of all tick-borne diseases.
So those little things bite?
They do. They have 8 legs, an attitude, and can put you on your behind in a heartbeat.
Wow. So there's some things out there that folks really have to be aware of to protect themselves, their families, their pets.
Sure.
Let's talk about those today.
Sure. Well, the other thing is that the headline here, it's not just about Lyme disease anymore. We're up to 5 different pathogens that this particular species of tick can vector and make you sick. And last year in our surveillance work, we found 13% of the ticks on Cape Cod were co-infected, meaning they're carrying 2, 3, or even 4 pathogens.
And those are some of those real scary big words, powassan and
babesiosis,
right?
Yeah, all of them. So they're all quite serious and can be serious. So let's talk about the 3 Ps.
Right.
The way we run this program is protect yourself, protect your yard, and protect your pets. So first and foremost, for self-protection, I talk about repellents as a first-line defense.
Right.
So we've got the standard products that people are familiar with, things like DEET, 30% DEET, but that's for exposed skin.
Okay.
So the tick won't bite you where that DEET is, but it might just keep marching along until it finds a place where there's no DEET. Right. For me, the top repellent on the books contains the active ingredient permethrin. And this is for treating clothing and footwear. And what I found in my research on this is that if a tick is exposed for 60 seconds, it's guaranteed to die in about 10 minutes.
Wow.
So it works like a charm. So you treat your footwear about every 4 weeks, and if you treat your clothing, it'll keep its activity through 6 washings or 45 days. Or you can get pre-treated clothing from a company, principally Insect Shield, and 70 washings claim, the life of the garment.
Wow.
And since I've been starting this regimen 7 years ago now, I've not received a single tick bite. And I went out looking for them.
Right, so I think so say the name again, it's permethrin.
Permethrin is the active ingredient, so you have a number of brands. So this one happens to be Sawyer.
Right.
This is Ben's. You can get it now all the major garden centers on the Cape and some of the box stores like Home Depot. But and the safety margin on this product is huge. This is the active ingredient that you would slather on an infant for scabies mite at a much higher concentration. So chemically, it's the perfect chemical for our particular application.
Okay, and then we talk about the yard as well. So, people are out there, we've got gorgeous weather, starting to really get out there and do that yard work.
Exactly.
And those ticks live in your yard whether you have manicured grass or
Sure.
not, right?
We don't have to go into that tree line over there to get ticks. In fact, surveillance research in Connecticut showed that 2/3 of the people that submitted ticks for identification and testing got them from their own backyard. So ticks and gardening go hand in hand. Right. So as a 1-2 punch, besides the treated clothing and footwear, I recommend a perimeter yard spray. There are commercial companies that use a product like permethrin, Telstar. And so on our website, we've got the timings and of when you would put those 2 spring sprays on, mid-May, mid-June, and that'll cover that nymph stage window of activity.
Right, the ones that you can't see that really literally will bite and you never even knew that you get bit.
Yeah, so you need to do tick checks anyway, and the places you would look is where your clothing becomes restrictive. So like behind your knees, your pelvic area, your armpit, your hairline around your neck. That's where you're most likely to find the ticks.
Okay. Having been bit and having had Lyme disease, I think perhaps maybe from our dogs, pick up ticks all the time. We've got a couple of products here, the Advantix collars for dogs. But
Sure.
There's...
There's a number of topicals like Canine Advantix 2. You have to pay attention to what products you can use on a dog versus a cat. This one you cannot use on cats. They're sensitive to permethrin. But the monthly topicals, some people find they get old after a while. Did I do it? Do I feel like doing it? And a company came out with a collar a few years ago called Seresto with an S. You put that on your animal, you get 8 months of continuous flea and tick control. So the pets are covered, in fact, in some ways better than people because there's a vaccine available for dogs for Lyme disease.
Correct. Yep. Absolutely, and I think what a lot of people don't understand is that, you know, even if you think it's just a dog tick, they're picking up these little nymph things you don't even see on their fur and on their skin. So, you know, if you're snuggling with them on the couch or something like that, you really have to be aware that you need a product on them that's going to kill them in that small stage as well.
Exactly, and if the tick falls off the animal for whatever reason, once that happens, it's going to die fairly shortly because ambient humidity inside a house isn't that high.
Right. Excellent. Well, Larry, what other things can you tell folks? We just need to protect ourselves. We need to be smart.
We need to be tick safe. I tell people that don't be afraid of your environment because there are people that don't want to go outside anymore. Don't fear your environment, but understand your environment.
Right. Thank you so much, Larry. Here's 2 super cool events on our community calendar today. Alice Cartier joins the Cotuit Library for a rock decorating program today at 3 p.m. as part of the theme for the summer reading program, Libraries Rock. Come down and go crazy in a rock of your very own. This program is free, but please register at cotuitlibrary.org/events or contact the library. Bring your blankets, beach chairs, and dancing shoes and head on down to Asleton Park tonight for the Hyannis Harbor free concert series featuring Skylar Grant Blues Rock Trio. Free concert and free parking in the Town Hall South Street lot. Rock on, summer! Here is a look at the meeting schedule for boards, committees, commissions. Comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook, email us, or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.